To you today about how do I know who to take my exam prep class from, and how do I know whose material is the best material to help me pass my state or my broker's state exam. So when I say state, that means the real estate agent, because in California we have real estate agents and we have brokers. And the thing is you go searching on the internet looking all over for someone to follow, but there's things you have to check out. Like, for instance, look at the comments. Are the classes helping the people pass? Because a lot of time there's people out there that have material that's dated. And when I say the material's dated, it's not just to watch the video and see if the video is a new video. Thank you for the thumbs up. If it's not a new video, if it's an older video, or even if it's a new video, but it has older content. In fact, it was super funny. The other day, I saw somebody that was teaching real estate stuff. So I asked him, I'm like, did you know that in California, first I asked if they knew if it was California specific. And of course they're not California specific, because if they're California specific, we're only narrowing in on a certain group of people, but that's not necessarily true. So our exam prep class is California specific, but a lot of the stuff that I talk about, like our vocabulary and our test taking tools to help people know how to take tests, those kinds of things, they're not going to change. And that's what he said. He said, oh, nothing's going to change. But that's not necessarily true, because in California, our real estate laws are changing constantly. In fact, the brand new law that came out in January was made law, okay? It's a law that you have to fill out a BRBC. That's the buyer's agreement. So originally there was a lawsuit, and the settlement said, okay, we have to do this specifically. And this specifically was the buyer's agent has to talk to the buyer about how they're going to pay them, because the seller's not always going to pay the buyer for you. So that was with the settlement. And then after the settlement, in January, they passed a law that said we have to use it. And that's not just California. That's everywhere. We all have to use the BRBC. And every state might have a different form or file that they have to have. So you've got to make sure that you're learning from the people that know your state. Now, if you're looking, for the California, that's us. And the thing that's different is, what I want to make sure you understand is, there is one general real estate exam. And that one general real estate exam, most of the other states use the one general real estate exam. And then what they do is they have a state-specific exam. So it's basically two different tests. Whereas in California, we don't use the state-specific one. What we use is the California real estate licensing test. So there's so much you need to know. And the other thing that you need to know is, when you're studying stuff, if you see something that seems like a wrong answer and you call them and they don't respond to you, excuse me, and you call them and they don't respond to you, that's a red flag right there. So everything that you have questions about, and if a question looks wrong, you need to ask about it, because on the CompuTrainer, there is actually incorrect questions and answers. And that's super crazy. So when I'm going through our live class, so our class is live on Zoom. We're starting a class in about 45 minutes. So that kind of dates my video, but we do our classes every other week at 6 p.m. to 9:30, and it's from Monday to Thursday. Then the other time that we do classes is all day Saturday and all day Sunday. So our material is about 16 hours. If you are taking a class that doesn't have at least 16 hours of material, I don't know how they can guarantee that you're going to pass your exam, because I see things in the mail that students show me that they get. They're like, hey, there's a 4-hour exam prep, or there's a movie that we can go watch and we're going to be guaranteed to pass the exam, or they advertise it like it's a class, and it turns out being paperwork that you have to study on your own. So we have the live class, which I'm about to start tonight. And then the other thing that we do is a thing called instant access. And instant access allows you to watch our videos as many times as you want. And then you're also allowed to take our class up to 3 times. So with all of our students, they're allowed to take our class up to 3 times, because we understand that life happens. And I got to tell you, life really happens, because Saturday morning when class was supposed to start, I woke up to not a very fortunate thing. My dog was sick, and so I had to deal with my sick dog. But fortunately enough, we were able to go ahead and upgrade our students to the instant access. So we are going to help our students any way we can to help them pass, if not on the first time, on the next time. So when we say it like that, a lot of times students come to us after they've taken the test 1, 2, or 3 times, and then they find us on the internet and they're like, thank you, Lord, I found Sharon, because I explain everything. So one of the things that I said earlier in this video was, look and see if the real estate agent that you're working with, well, the teacher you're working with, have they ever done real estate? Because there's a lot of people out there teaching, but they've never successfully even had a real estate license. So I've had my real estate license since 1986. I've had my broker's license since 2006. And I obtained my mortgage broker's license in 2015. But I was doing mortgages way before you had to have licenses. And the licensing came out about 2012. So any information that you want to know about becoming a real estate agent, upgrading to a broker, or getting your MLO license, we are here to help you. We know that people have things that come up. So like on Saturday, if you can't be in the classroom Saturday morning, then maybe you can be in the class Monday night. If you can't be in it Saturday afternoon, then Tuesday we do what we did there. So we're constantly making sure that we have stuff available so that you can study and pass. And the next thing I'm going to release is I'm going to release some test taking tips. And my test taking tips are things that help our students pass the exam, because quite honestly, you can't just go in there and read the question and pick an answer. I don't know how many other people teach what I teach, but I teach you how to jump around the exam, what to look at in the answers for the questions. And I don't just do word association, because we're making sure you learn the material. Because if you go and, one of the things that people keep asking us for is questions and answers. And we do have questions and answers, and we do sell questions and answers, but that's only because you guys keep asking for questions and answers. But what you have to realize in California is there's over 9,000 questions. And with 9,000 questions, you cannot learn every single question. So because you can't learn every single question, there's no time for it. I mean, the Department of Real Estate actually started a group, and I don't think a lot of people know this, but there was a group that went through all 9,000 questions. And they started in 2019. They finished going through all 9,000 questions in December of 2024. And they recently released the new updated exam. The new updated exam was released on March the 25th. And thank goodness, because we have so much material. Maybe you can call us overkill, but we're overkill because we want you to pass the exam. So everything in our class could be on the exam, but maybe some of it's not. But you know what? Our students are passing, and they're passing after they take our class, not after they take another class on YouTube, or another class that's 4 hours long, or they watch a video that's a movie. Because you guys, it's a lot, and it has to be a lot, because you have to think about this. You need to learn the material, because what happens after you pass the test, and let's say that you did some crazy way to get past the test and you barely made it through, but you didn't learn anything. What's going to happen when somebody says, can you show me how to buy a home? Can you list our home and sell it? How are you going to do that if you don't know how to do it? So the point is as I'm going through our class, I'm teaching you what you have to know for the test, how to take the test, and what's going to happen after you get your license. And those are the kinds of things that you're looking for. Quality education that's going to help you every step of the way with your real estate career. Because real estate, like I was going to say, it's a huge investment. This is the most important investment in a couple's life, or even a single person's life, whoever is, for the buyer's life. And if you're working with the seller, I mean, here's my take on it. Now, this is only my take. But when you're working with a buyer, they're super excited. Buyers are excited, and they're super fun to work with, because they want to buy their home and they want to get the perfect home of their dreams. And sometimes you don't get the perfect home, but you get a step-up home. And people need to realize that sometimes you're going to have to get the step-up home before you get the home of your dreams. But on the seller side, the sellers aren't always excited about selling. Sometimes they're selling because they can't afford their home. Sometimes they're selling because they got a job transfer. Or sometimes they're selling because, you know what? A lot of people that are getting older, we have to sell our home and maybe move to where our parent is, because our parent doesn't want to move to our home, or we don't have a downstairs bedroom. So a lot of times sellers are selling not because they want to, but because they have to. So you have to be aware that a lot of the times sellers aren't going to be excited about selling. And sometimes you have to understand that they're going through a situation. And that's another thing about life. A lot of people don't understand that sometimes people are just going through something, and you have to give them a little bit of grace. So my thing is, always give a little bit of grace. And we're here to help you. And all you have to do is reach out to California Real Estate Trainers. And our website's super easy to find. It's PASS, P-A-S-S. Pass with Sharon, that's me. I am your only teacher. Okay, so it's not like you're going to take our class and you're going to get an appraiser who's going to teach your class. It's not like you're going to get, you're going to take a real estate class and you're going to get someone who taught real estate 20 years ago and they're only teaching because they have to, not because they want to, or they never even were a real estate agent. Because as a real estate agent, I can give you examples how to keep the memory of what you need to know for the exam. So feel free to join us. All you have to do is go to passwithsharon.com. We have the broker's class, the salesperson's class, and the mortgage loan originators class. And going to passwithsharon.com will help you. And if you need more help, just call us. Hope to see you in class. Have a great evening.